Chloe had always been a fighter, but life's battles were beginning to wear her down. At just 19, she had faced the world with her newborn son, Lucas, in her arms. Now, 6 years later, Lucas's needs were growing, and so were the bills. Unemployed and without prospects, Chloe spent her nights holding back tears and her mornings searching for hope where none seemed to exist. One day, a glimmer of opportunity appeared on her small kitchen table. Next to a stale loaf of bread was a piece of paper her neighbor had left for her, a job advertisement. Chloe picked it up with trembling fingers, reading and rereading the words like they were a winning lottery ticket. Private caregiver for high-end residents, demanding work, excellent salary, seeking discretion and commitment. Her heart skipped a beat. The salary promised a better school for Lucas, a home with enough space for him to play, and nights without choosing between keeping the lights on or buying groceries. It could be the turning point she desperately needed. But could someone like her, with a life full of struggles, handle a demanding job like this? Chloe took a deep breath. She had to try. The next morning, Chloe stood in front of a grand mansion, its iron gates opening to reveal a perfectly manicured garden that seemed like a dream. A housekeeper named Lucy greeted her warmly, but with a hint of caution. "Welcome, I'll take you to Mr. Foster," Lucy said. "But I must warn you, he's demanding and direct. Just be honest." Chloe nodded, her hands clammy as Lucy led her through the silent, pristine hallways. When the office door opened, Chloe saw Arthur Foster for the first time. He was seated in a wheelchair, dressed sharply in a suit. His eyes were cold and analytical, like they could see right through her. "Are you the candidate?" he asked bluntly. "Yes, sir," Chloe replied, trying to sound confident. "Why do you want this job?" he asked, tilting his head slightly. Chloe took a deep breath. "I'm a single mother. I want to secure a better future for my son, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes." Arthur's gaze lingered on her for a moment that felt like an eternity before he turned his wheelchair slightly. "Start tomorrow. Don't disappoint me." That night, as Chloe tucked Lucas into bed, a mix of relief and anxiety washed over her. This job could change their lives, but something about Arthur's piercing gaze made her uneasy. She had no idea what lay ahead. On her first day, Lucy gave Chloe a quick tour and outlined her responsibilities. "Mr. Foster has a very specific routine. Your main job will be assisting him with bathing and dressing. He values efficiency and professionalism. Don't force pleasantries. He doesn't like them." Chloe's stomach churned as she stepped into the master bathroom. It was equipped with assistive devices, side rails, a special shower bench, and a table of expensive products. Before she could take it all in, Arthur wheeled into the room. "Let's get started. I don't have all day," he said curtly, not even glancing at her. As Chloe adjusted the bench, she couldn't help but notice the scars on his hands as he gripped the rails. He didn't ask for help, but his body told a story of struggle. "Don't treat me like an invalid," Arthur snapped, breaking the silence. "I'm not," Chloe replied calmly. "I just want to ensure your safety." Arthur scoffed, but said nothing more. As she soaped his shoulders, Chloe saw a deep scar running down his back. She hesitated, but decided not to ask questions. At least, not yet. Throughout the day, Chloe learned more about her duties and adjusted to Arthur's demeanor. He was stern and always in control, yet there were moments where his exterior seemed to crack. He gripped his wheelchair's armrests tightly when people got too close and avoided eye contact when conversations turned personal. During lunch, Chloe met Evelyn, who carried an air of superiority. Dressed in an elegant outfit and radiating expensive perfume, Evelyn's smile didn't reach her eyes. "So, you're the new caregiver?" Evelyn asked. "Yes, I'm Chloe," she replied politely. Evelyn let out a short laugh. "I hope Arthur doesn't give you too much trouble. You seem fragile." Arthur said nothing, but his jaw tightened. The tension in the room was palpable, and Chloe realized she'd need to tread carefully around Evelyn. Later that day, Lucas called Chloe from the neighbor's phone. His cheerful voice was like a lifeline. "How's work, Mom?" Is the house big? He asked excitedly. It's different, sweetheart. But I'm okay, she replied, holding back her emotions. I wish you were here, Lucas said softly. Chloe's heart ached, but she kept her voice steady. I do too, my love, but I'm doing this for us. After hanging up, Chloe stared at the phone, fighting the wave of longing for her son. The job was challenging, and being away from Lucas made it even harder. As days passed, Chloe began to see glimpses of the man behind Arthur's cold demeanor. One day, she found a box of old photos while tidying his room. One picture caught her attention, Arthur standing and smiling next to Evelyn. They looked happy, but Evelyn's smile seemed forced, almost artificial. What are you doing? Arthur's voice startled her. I was just, Chloe began, but he cut her off. It doesn't matter. Everyone wants to know what happened, don't they? They look at me like I'm some mystery to solve. Chloe hesitated before responding. You don't owe anyone an explanation. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Arthur was silent for a moment, before murmuring, that photo was taken before the accident, before everything fell apart. Then he turned and left, leaving Chloe with more questions than answers. Chloe's routine at the mansion became more familiar, but the challenges persisted. Evelyn continued to make veiled threats, and Arthur tested her patience at every turn. Yet, Chloe remained determined. She reminded herself why she was doing this, for Lucas. Through it all, Chloe began to see that Arthur's bitterness masked something deeper: pain, loss, and a guarded heart. And though she didn't know where this journey would lead, she was resolved to face whatever came next. Chloe opened the package and found an anonymous note. The words were simple but threatening. Watch your step. A chill ran down her spine as she read it. Who could have sent it? Evelyn immediately came to mind, but Chloe knew better than to accuse anyone without proof. She decided to show the note to Lucy, who looked visibly concerned as she read it. That's strange, Lucy said. I'll look into it. But be careful, Chloe. There are a lot of people here who don't like change. By the end of the day, Chloe was exhausted, but still determined to stay focused. During her final task, she noticed Arthur sitting alone in the library, staring at an open book. He didn't seem to be reading it. Do you need anything, sir? She asked softly. Arthur looked up at her, his expression weary. You always ask that? Don't you get tired of trying to help? It's my job, Chloe replied, though her voice carried more sincerity than she intended. Arthur studied her for a moment before speaking again. Maybe you're not like the others. For the first time, Chloe caught a glimpse of something close to vulnerability in him, and for the first time, she felt she might actually be able to make a difference. The next day was gray and rainy, a light drizzle covering the mansion's gardens. Chloe decided to set aside the mystery of the note and focus on her work. That morning, Arthur seemed more reserved than usual, though it didn't surprise her. He was a man who had built high walls around himself, both physically and emotionally. As Chloe prepared the bathroom for his morning routine, she heard the sound of wheels approaching. Arthur entered silently, his expression as cold and watchful as ever. Good morning, sir, Chloe said, hoping to ease the tension. Arthur didn't respond, merely gesturing for her to begin. She was getting used to his silence, but something felt different today. As the bath progressed, Arthur's usual sharp remarks and stiff demeanor seemed to soften slightly. His shoulders were less tense, and he allowed her to work without interruption. Sir, Chloe hesitated before continuing, the weather today would be perfect for a walk in the garden. Maybe we could… No, he cut her off abruptly, his tone icy. Chloe sighed quietly, but didn't push further. Even so, she noticed the subtle change in him, a slight shift that only someone paying close attention could detect. Later, while tidying Arthur's bedroom, Chloe found a dusty photo album on a shelf. She hesitated before opening it, but her curiosity got the better of her. Inside were pictures of Arthur before the accident, standing, smiling, surrounded by friends and family. One particular photo caught her eye. Arthur was embracing a woman with bright eyes, both of them clearly happy. "I remember that day," Arthur's voice startled her. He stood in the doorway, watching her intently. Chloe quickly closed the album and set it back. "I'm sorry, I was just—" "Don't apologize," he interrupted. His gaze lingered on the album. "That was before, a time that no longer exists." Chloe heard the melancholy in his words. "You were happy," she said softly, almost without thinking. Arthur let out a bitter laugh. "Happiness is overrated. What matters is control, and that's what I've lost." "Maybe not entirely," Chloe replied gently. "You can still choose how to face things." Arthur didn't respond immediately. He turned his wheelchair and left the room, leaving her to wonder about the life he had lost. At lunch, Evelyn was at the dining table, as elegant as ever. Despite her composed exterior, there was a tension in her posture. "Are you enjoying the job, Chloe?" Evelyn asked, her tone polite but with an edge of provocation. "Yes, ma'am," Chloe replied, keeping her gaze on her plate. Evelyn leaned forward slightly. "Arthur can be difficult. I hope you know how to handle that. He needs someone who understands their place." Chloe felt the sting of Evelyn's words, but kept her composure. "I do my best to fulfill my role." Evelyn smiled faintly, seemingly satisfied, but Chloe's discomfort only grew. Evelyn's presence was a constant reminder that she had to tread carefully. Later that afternoon, Chloe received a call from Lucas. His cheerful voice was the bright spot in her heavy day. "Mommy, I drew you today," Lucas said excitedly. "Really? I can't wait to see it when I get home," Chloe replied, smiling. "I love you, Mommy," he said, his sweet voice filling her heart with hope. "I love you too, sweetheart. Be good for Anna, okay?" After hanging up, Chloe felt tears well up. Lucas was her strength, but the weight of the distance between them grew heavier each day. That evening, Arthur made an unusual appearance in the kitchen while Chloe was preparing dinner. His presence caught her off guard. "You seem different today," he remarked, his tone almost casual. "Different how?" she asked curiously. "Less submissive. That's good." Chloe chuckled softly. "I'm not submissive. I just respect my work." Arthur studied her for a moment, his gaze thoughtful. "That's good too." Throughout the evening, Chloe noticed that Arthur seemed less resistant to interaction. Though he was still reserved, there was a subtle shift in his demeanor, an openness she hadn't seen before. The next morning, Chloe decided to try something new. During Arthur's bath, she asked, "Have you ever considered spending time in the garden?" Arthur raised an eyebrow. "You're bringing that up again?" "I think it would be good. Fresh air can do wonders," she said, keeping her tone casual. Arthur hesitated, but eventually gave a brief nod. Minutes later, they were in the garden, surrounded by flowers and towering trees. Arthur seemed uncomfortable at first, but gradually, Chloe noticed him relax. The gentle breeze brushed against his face as he gazed at the overcast sky. "I used to come here often," Arthur admitted. "Before the accident, it was my favorite place." "And it still can be," Chloe replied. "Nothing has been completely taken from you. You just need to rediscover what makes you feel good." Arthur didn't respond, but Chloe saw his hands relax on the armrests of his wheelchair. It was a small victory, but a significant one. The morning sunlight filled Arthur's room as Chloe adjusted the curtains. Arthur watched her silently, his gaze distant. "Good morning, sir," Chloe said, breaking the quiet. "Good morning," Arthur replied, his tone neutral but lacking its usual sharpness. Chloe took it as another small step forward. With Arthur, every step, no matter how subtle, was meaningful. Later, while tidying the kitchen, Chloe found an envelope on the counter. Inside was another anonymous note. This time, the message was more direct. "Leave while you still can." Her hands trembled as she read it. She showed the note to Lucy, who looked alarmed. "This has gone too far," Lucy said. "I'm going to talk to Arthur. He needs to know what's happening." "No," Chloe said quickly. "I don't want to cause trouble." But deep down, she knew trouble was already brewing. Chloe replied firmly, "Whoever it is, I won't let them intimidate me. I'm here for my son, and I'm not giving up that easily." Lucy nodded reluctantly, though her worry was evident. Chloe knew the housekeeper shared her concerns, but she was determined to stay strong. Later that evening, Chloe found Arthur in the garden, a rare sight. He was sitting alone, staring at the horizon, lost in thought. "Thank you for what you did yesterday," he said suddenly, without looking at her. "For what?" Chloe asked, confused. "For bringing your son. He reminded me of something I had forgotten," Arthur replied. Chloe smiled softly. "And what was that?" Arthur finally turned to look at her, his expression softer than usual. That there's still beauty, even when everything seems lost. Early the next morning, Chloe walked into the kitchen and found Lucy preparing coffee. Despite the housekeeper's calm demeanor, the mansion felt heavy with tension. The anonymous note from the day before lingered in Chloe's mind, but she decided not to bring it up. There was too much work to do. "Good morning," Lucy said, handing Chloe a mug of coffee. "Good morning," Chloe replied, taking a sip. Lucy observed her closely before speaking. "You seem tense. Is something wrong?" Chloe hesitated for a moment. "It's nothing, just my own worries." Lucy didn't press further, but Chloe could tell the housekeeper noticed more than she let on. Chloe spent the morning tidying Arthur's room. He was quieter than usual, a sign she now recognized as him being deep in thought. As she straightened his bed, he watched her for a moment before finally speaking. "Did you get another note?" Arthur asked, his tone direct and unexpected. Chloe froze and turned to face him. "How do you know about that?" "Lucy mentioned it to me. I thought you would have told me," Arthur replied with a slight shrug. Chloe sighed, feeling the weight of his gaze. "I didn't think it was relevant. It's just someone trying to scare me." Arthur tilted his head slightly. "Do you think that's something you should ignore?" "I don't want to cause any trouble," Chloe replied firmly. Arthur chuckled softly, though there was no humor in it. "Trouble already exists in this house, Chloe, and you're not the one responsible for it." His words hung in the air, and Chloe felt as though he was referring to more than just the notes. At lunch, Evelyn walked into the dining room, holding an envelope. She cast a quick glance at Chloe before sitting beside Arthur with a forced smile. "Arthur, I brought some documents for you to sign, just a few adjustments to the property management," she said, her tone light but laced with urgency. Arthur looked at the envelope but didn't reach for it. "Documents? Now?" "It's important," Evelyn insisted, though her tone betrayed a hint of anxiety. From a distance, Chloe noticed the unease in Evelyn's posture. Something about the interaction seemed off. Arthur finally took the envelope, but set it aside without opening it. "Why don't we discuss this later? For now, I'd prefer to have lunch," Arthur said calmly. Evelyn smiled tightly, though it was clear she wasn't pleased. Later that afternoon, Chloe received a call from Lucas. His cheerful voice was a welcome relief amid the tension. "Mommy, today I made a drawing of you and the man in the chair," Lucas said excitedly. "Really? I can't wait to see it when I get home," Chloe replied with a smile. "Are you happy at work, Mommy?" Lucas asked, his voice innocent and full of curiosity. Chloe hesitated for a moment before answering, "I am, sweetheart. I'm doing this for us." After hanging up, Chloe felt a lump in her throat. Lucas was her strength, but she knew she had to shield him from the weight of her challenges. In the early afternoon, Chloe found Arthur in the library, examining the envelope Evelyn had brought earlier. He seemed more lost in thought than focused on the documents. "She's always trying to control everything," Arthur muttered, more to himself than to Chloe. "Who?" Chloe asked hesitantly. "Evelyn," Arthur replied, his tone a mix of exhaustion and irritation. "She acts like she's helping, but she's only interested in what she can take from me." Chloe remained silent, letting him continue. "Before the accident, I thought I understood people. I thought I knew who was loyal and who was just here for their own gain." "And now?" Chloe asked gently. Arthur's voice softened but carried a heavy weight. Now I see things for what they really are. The accident wasn't what broke me, Chloe. It was the people around me. Chloe felt the depth of his pain and bitterness. Beneath his guarded exterior was a man deeply hurt by betrayal, and she sensed he was beginning to trust her enough to let her see it. While tidying the living room later that day, Chloe heard hurried footsteps in the hallway. Evelyn entered abruptly, her gaze fixed on Chloe. "You have something that belongs to me," Evelyn said, her voice low but dripping with menace. "I don't know what you're talking about," Chloe replied, keeping her tone calm. "Don't play innocent," Evelyn continued. "If you think you can make a place for yourself here, you're mistaken. People like you don't belong in this world." Chloe felt her heart race, but she refused to let Evelyn see her fear. "I'm here to work, nothing more. I don't want trouble." Evelyn stepped closer, narrowing her eyes. "Then stay away from Arthur. And one more thing, the next note you get might not be so friendly." A chill ran through Chloe, but she maintained her composure as Evelyn turned and walked out of the room, leaving behind the echo of her threats. At the end of the day, Chloe decided to tell Arthur everything. She knew this situation was bigger than she could handle alone. She found him in the garden, gazing calmly at the evening sky. "I need to talk to you," Chloe said, her voice serious. Arthur turned to her, noting the urgency in her tone. "What is it?" Chloe hesitated for a moment before recounting everything: the notes, Evelyn's threats, and the confrontation in the living room. Arthur listened silently, but his expression hardened with each word. When she finished, he finally spoke. "Evelyn has always been good at manipulating people. But with me, that ends now." "What are you going to do?" Chloe asked, concerned. Arthur looked at her, his voice firm and resolute. "I'll handle it my way, but know this, Chloe. While you're here, you're under my protection. Don't let Evelyn intimidate you." The tension in the mansion was palpable the next day, but Chloe resolved to stick to her routine. As she prepared Arthur's bath equipment, she noticed he was quieter than usual. It wasn't his typical cold silence, but something more reflective. "Are you all right, sir?" Chloe asked gently as she adjusted the shower bench. Arthur looked at her, his gaze thoughtful. "You always ask that, don't you?" "It's part of the job," Chloe replied with a soft smile. He chuckled briefly, but this time there was no sarcasm in his tone. "I'm thinking, have you ever believed you could do something impossible?" The question caught Chloe off guard. She paused before answering. "Yes, many times, and sometimes I actually did." Arthur nodded slowly, as if her words gave him something to hold on to. "Maybe I should try too." The morning's bath felt different. Arthur was more cooperative, allowing Chloe to assist him without his usual sharp remarks. When they were finished, he looked at her, his expression uncharacteristically vulnerable. "Do you believe I could stand one day?" he asked softly. Chloe met his gaze and replied with quiet conviction. "I believe you can." "You can do anything as long as you're willing to try," Chloe replied sincerely. Arthur didn't respond, but held her gaze for a moment longer before turning his wheelchair and leaving the bathroom. Later that morning, Arthur surprised Chloe by asking her to meet him in the physical therapy room, a space he rarely used. The room was equipped with parallel bars, weights, and other rehabilitation tools, but it always seemed untouched. "I want to try something," he said, positioning his wheelchair near the bars. Chloe stepped closer, unsure of what to expect. "Are you sure, sir? I don't want you to get hurt." Arthur's tone was firm. "I'm already hurt. What more could happen?" He placed his trembling hands on the bars, his arms straining against the effort. Chloe instinctively stepped in, lightly supporting his back as he fought to lift himself. Each movement was a battle, but Arthur refused to give up. Finally, with a surge of determination, he managed to lift his torso slightly. It was brief, but the effort lit a spark in him. "I felt it," he said, breathless. "For a moment, I felt it." Chloe's face lit up with a smile. "That's amazing, sir. This is just the beginning." Arthur's expression, though strained, carried a glimmer of hope. As Chloe helped him back into his wheelchair, Evelyn entered the room, her irritation palpable. "What's going on here?" she demanded, crossing her arms. Arthur raised his eyes to her, his tone firm. "I'm trying to take back what's mine, something you never believed I could do." Evelyn's attention shifted to Chloe. "Is this your idea? Let me guess. You think you can save the world, don't you?" "This was Mr. Foster's idea," Chloe replied calmly. "And he's making incredible progress." Evelyn let out a bitter laugh. "Progress? He can't even stand on his own. This isn't progress, it's delusion." Arthur interrupted before Chloe could respond. "Enough, Evelyn. I'm tired of hearing you tear everything down. You're not here to help me. You're here for yourself." Evelyn's surprise was evident, but instead of retreating, she shot Arthur a look of disdain before walking out of the room. Later, as Chloe prepared lunch, Lucas called again. His cheerful voice was the perfect antidote to the morning's tension. "Mommy, today I drew a picture of a strong man. It's you and the man in the chair together," Lucas said proudly. Chloe laughed softly. "Really? I can't wait to see it. Are you behaving?" "Yes, Mommy, but I miss you," he said in a quieter tone. "I miss you too, my love, but we'll be together soon. I promise." After hanging up, Chloe felt tears well up in her eyes. Lucas was her strength, but every day apart from him seemed harder than the last. In the afternoon, Chloe found Arthur sitting in the garden, gazing at the horizon with a contemplative expression. "Thank you for what you did today," he said, without looking at her. "You're the one who did it, sir," Chloe replied gently. Arthur chuckled lightly. "You have a gift, Chloe. You make people believe in themselves." "It's the least I can do," she said, sitting down beside him. Arthur was silent for a while before speaking again. "Have you ever thought that maybe you're here for a bigger reason?" Chloe frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" "Maybe you're not just here to work. Maybe it's something more." His tone carried a depth that left Chloe unsure how to respond. She couldn't shake the feeling that Arthur was speaking about something far deeper than employment. At the end of the day, as Chloe finished her tasks, Lucy approached her. "I heard what happened in the therapy room. Did Arthur really try to stand up?" Lucy asked, visibly surprised. "Yes, and he managed for a moment," Chloe replied with a smile. Lucy shook her head, clearly impressed. "He's never tried that before. I think you're really making a difference." Chloe said nothing, but felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. She was beginning to understand the impact she was having, and she knew the journey was far from over. The next morning began under a heavy sky, dark clouds hinting at the tension simmering inside the mansion. Chloe suspected Evelyn wouldn't take the previous day's confrontation lightly, but her focus remained on Arthur's progress. Every small victory proved it was all worth it. As Chloe prepared breakfast, Lucy entered the kitchen, holding an envelope with a worried expression. "Another note," Lucy said, handing it to Chloe. Chloe opened the envelope carefully, her heart sinking as she read the short message. "Leave before it's too late." Lucy shook her head. "This is getting dangerous. You need to tell Mr. Foster." Chloe hesitated, but knew Lucy was right. It was time to confront the situation head-on. Later, Chloe found Arthur in the library, flipping through a book without much focus. "Sir," she began, holding the note in her hand. "We need to talk." Arthur looked at her, then at the note she handed him. His eyes narrowed as he read the words. "Evelyn," he muttered, more to himself than to Chloe. "We don't know for sure that it's her," Chloe said, trying to stay calm. Arthur tossed the note onto the table. "We don't need to be sure. This is her style. Hints. Manipulation. She wants control." "But why? What does she gain from this?" Chloe asked. Arthur stared at her for a long moment before answering. "Money, power, everything she's ever wanted, and everything she thinks she might lose." A chill ran down Chloe's spine. "What should we do?" Arthur gave a faint smile, but his eyes were cold. "Leave it to me. She's crossed the line." In the early afternoon, Arthur asked Chloe to join him in the physical therapy room again. He seemed more determined than ever, as if the note had ignited something in him. "Today, we're trying again," he said, positioning his wheelchair beside the parallel bars. Chloe helped him prepare, watching the focus in his eyes. He placed his hands on the bars and began lifting himself. His arms trembled with effort, but he didn't stop. "You can do it, sir," Chloe encouraged, her voice steady. Arthur managed to lift his body higher than before. Though his legs remained immobile, his upper body held steady for a few moments. Breathing heavily, he finally lowered himself back into his wheelchair. "I didn't think I could do that." "Now you know you can," Chloe replied, her smile full of encouragement. Evelyn entered the room, her timing deliberate. "More useless attempts?" she remarked with a sarcastic smile. Arthur fixed his gaze on her. "If you think this is so pointless, why are you still here?" Evelyn's smile faded. "I'm here to make sure you don't destroy yourself with these foolish ideas. Someone has to manage what you can't anymore." Arthur's tone sharpened. "Is that what you call managing, manipulating, and sabotaging? Is that your idea of helping?" Evelyn crossed her arms. "I do what's necessary." Arthur's posture remained rigid. "Consider yourself warned, Evelyn. I won't tolerate this behavior anymore." Evelyn left without another word, but Chloe knew this battle was far from over. Later that night, Arthur asked Chloe to meet him in the library again. He seemed lost in thought, his seriousness heavier than usual. "Chloe," he began, "have you ever wondered why I'm still here? Why I keep trying?" "Because you believe there's still something worth reaching for," Chloe answered without hesitation. Arthur smiled faintly. "Maybe you're right. But until now, I thought I was doing it alone. Now, I'm starting to think I might need help." "There's no shame in that, sir. We all need help sometimes," Chloe replied. Arthur looked at her for a long moment before speaking again. "Have you ever thought that maybe it's not just about me? That maybe you're here for a bigger reason?" Chloe didn't know how to respond, but she felt the weight of his words settle over her, leaving her to wonder just how much her presence truly meant in this house. Evelyn entered the dining room, her usual elegance intact, though the tension in the house seemed lost on her. She addressed Arthur with casual confidence as she sat at the table. "Arthur, have you reconsidered my proposal about the investments?" Arthur fixed her with a calm yet piercing stare. "Number. And I suggest you stop trying to force your will. You won't win this battle." Evelyn laughed softly, though a flicker of unease betrayed her composure. "I only want what's best for you, and for us." As Chloe served the table, she observed the exchange. Evelyn was trying hard to maintain her facade, but it was clear Arthur had stopped playing her games. After lunch, Arthur invited Chloe to join him in the garden. The sun was bright, and he seemed eager to be outdoors. As they sat among the flowers, he asked suddenly, "Do you think people can change?" Chloe thought for a moment. "I think they can, but it takes willingness and courage." Arthur nodded slowly, staring at the flowers. "And what if they don't have that? What if they'd rather destroy everything than try to change?" Chloe hesitated, realizing he was talking about Evelyn. "I think in that case, change only happens when people lose control. Maybe that's what they need to see things differently." Arthur didn't reply, but his hands gripped the armrests of his wheelchair tightly. Later, as Chloe tidied the library, Lucas called. His cheerful voice immediately brought a smile to her face. "Mommy, today I played doctor with Anna. She said I'm great at taking care of people." "You're great at everything, my love," Chloe replied, laughing. Lucas paused before asking, "When can I visit you at the mansion? I want to see the flowers you talked about." "Soon, sweetheart. I promise we'll plan it," Chloe said, her heart aching. After hanging up, she stared at the phone, struggling to hold back her emotions. Lucas was her motivation, but the distance between them felt heavier with each passing day. That afternoon, Chloe found Lucy in the kitchen, looking worried. The housekeeper held an envelope in her hand. "I received this today. I think you need to see it," Lucy said, handing the envelope to Chloe. Inside was another threatening note. "You're digging your own grave. Leave before it's too late." A chill ran down Chloe's spine, but she refused to let it show. She knew Evelyn was behind it, but fear wasn't an option. "I'm not going anywhere," Chloe said firmly, tucking the note away. Lucy nodded, though her concern was evident. "Be careful, Chloe. Evelyn is dangerous." That evening, Arthur asked Chloe to meet him in his office. He was seated at his desk, the same pile of papers from earlier now neatly arranged. His expression was focused. "You asked how you could help," he began as Chloe approached. "Yes, sir," she replied, waiting for him to continue. Arthur handed her one of the documents. "Read this. Tell me what you think." Chloe took the paper and began reading. It was a proposal for asset transfers, blatantly manipulated to benefit Evelyn. When she finished, she looked at Arthur. "This is a blatant attempt to take control," she said bluntly. Arthur gave a bitter smile. "Exactly. That's why I need people like you. Someone who sees things for what they really are." Chloe felt a surge of pride, but also understood the stakes were rising. The next morning, Evelyn was more aggressive than ever. She stormed into the living room where Chloe was assisting Arthur, her glare sharp as a knife. "Arthur, we need to talk. Now," she said, barely masking her irritation. Arthur looked at her, calm and unmoving. "If this is about the documents, I've already made my decision." Evelyn crossed her arms, her voice dripping with frustration. "You're making a mistake, and it's all because of her," she snapped, pointing at Chloe. Chloe froze, but remained composed. Arthur immediately intervened. "Don't you dare blame her for your own failures, Evelyn. She has nothing to do with this." Evelyn seemed momentarily taken aback by his response, but quickly recovered. "You'll regret this, Arthur. I guarantee it," she said before storming out, slamming the door behind her. The next morning, as Chloe finished organizing the kitchen, Lucy rushed in, her expression tense. "Arthur asked you to go to the office. He wants to discuss something important," Lucy said in a hushed voice. Chloe nodded and quickly made her way to Arthur's office. He was seated at his desk, his expression serious as he gestured for her to sit. "I've discovered something," Arthur began, sliding a document toward her. "Evelyn's been hiding something that could change everything." Chloe picked up the paper and began reading. It was a financial record showing how Evelyn had diverted funds from one of the properties Arthur owned, along with evidence of manipulated asset values to inflate her profits. "This is serious," Chloe said, feeling a knot form in her stomach. "What do you plan to do?" Arthur's expression was resolute. "I confronted her last night. She denied everything, of course, but I now have enough evidence to remove her from any position of influence." "Does she know this?" Chloe asked cautiously. "She knows, and that's why I'm worried about what she might do next," Arthur replied. Chloe felt the weight of his words. Evelyn was cornered, and people like her were the most dangerous when desperate. Later, during Arthur's physical therapy session, he seemed more determined than ever. "I want to see how far I can go today," he said, positioning himself at the parallel bars. Chloe stood by his side, ready to assist. "Take it slow, sir. One step at a time." Arthur gripped the bars and began lifting himself. His arms trembled, but he pushed through, managing to stay upright longer than before. "You're surpassing yourself, sir. This is incredible," Chloe said, her face glowing with pride. Arthur looked at her, sweat dripping down his face. "You're helping me more than you realize. I wouldn't say this easily, but I think I need you here." Chloe was surprised by his sincerity, but simply smiled and helped him settle back into his wheelchair. That afternoon, as Chloe set the dining table, Evelyn entered the room. Her tense posture and sharp glare were impossible to miss. "Do you really think you have a future here?" Evelyn asked, her tone dripping with disdain. Chloe paused and met her gaze. "I'm here to work. I'm not looking for conflict." Evelyn let out a short, harsh laugh. "Conflict? You've already created one. Arthur is against me because of you." "Arthur is against you because you tried to betray him," Chloe replied calmly but firmly. Evelyn stepped closer, dangerously near. "Do you think you can stand up to me? People like you don't belong in this world. I will destroy you." Before Chloe could respond, Arthur entered the room. He took in the scene with a calm, yet commanding presence. "That's enough, Evelyn. This has gone too far," he said firmly. Evelyn turned to him, her surprise evident. "Arthur, don't believe what she says. I only want what's best for you." Arthur shook his head. "The best for me? You mean the best for you? I've seen enough, Evelyn. You no longer have a place in this house?" Evelyn stood frozen for a moment before laughing bitterly. "You think you can get rid of me that easily? I know things that could destroy you." Arthur remained unfazed. "Do whatever you want, but know that anything you try against me will only reveal who you truly are." Evelyn stormed out, leaving Chloe and Arthur alone. "Thank you for defending me, sir," Chloe said, still a bit shaken. "I didn't do it for you, Chloe. I did it for myself. It's time I started standing up for myself too," he replied. Later that night, Lucas called, his voice a balm for the day's chaos. "Mommy, today I drew a big house with flowers in the garden. Does it look like the mansion?" "Yes, it looks a lot like it," Chloe said, laughing. "And the man in the chair, is he walking?" Lucas asked innocently. "He's trying, love, and he's making great progress," Chloe replied, feeling a sense of pride. After hanging up, Chloe reflected on Lucas's words. His simple, hopeful view of the world reminded her why she was there, enduring everything. The next day, Evelyn became even more aggressive. She avoided Arthur, but made a point to confront Chloe at every opportunity. While Chloe was organizing the kitchen cabinets, Evelyn entered abruptly, arms crossed. "You should leave before things get worse," Evelyn said in a threatening tone. Chloe ignored her and continued her work. "I warned you," Evelyn continued. "You'll regret coming here." "I didn't come here to fight with you, Evelyn. I'm here to work and to help Mr. Foster," Chloe replied, keeping her tone calm. Evelyn stepped closer, but before she could say more, Lucy appeared at the doorway. "Is everything all right here?" Lucy asked, her sharp gaze fixed on Evelyn. Evelyn didn't respond. Instead, she stormed out of the kitchen, visibly frustrated. At the end of the day, Arthur asked Chloe to meet him in the office. He seemed calmer, almost as though a heavy decision had finally been made. "Chloe, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. I know it's not easy dealing with Evelyn, or with me," he said, offering a faint smile. "It's my job, sir, and it's a privilege to see you making progress," Chloe replied sincerely. Arthur shook his head. "It's more than that. You've shown me there's still something worth fighting for." Chloe felt the weight of his words. For the first time, she didn't see a bitter man, but someone beginning to rebuild himself piece by piece. The morning carried a different energy. Tension hung in the air, but there was also a sense of change on the horizon. As Chloe prepared breakfast, she reflected on the whirlwind of events in recent days. Evelyn remained a threat, but Arthur was more determined than ever to stand his ground. Lucy entered the kitchen as Chloe finished arranging the breakfast tray. "Have you heard what Evelyn is planning?" Lucy asked, her voice tinged with concern. Chloe paused. "No, what is she up to now?" Lucy sighed, crossing her arms. "She's been talking to some of Arthur's lawyers, trying to gain their support to challenge his ability to make decisions about his own business." A chill ran down Chloe's spine. Is that even possible? Not without substantial evidence, but Evelyn is cunning. If she manipulates the right people, she could make things very difficult for him, Lucy explained. Chloe pressed her lips together, feeling her worry deepen. "Arthur needs to know about this." Lucy nodded. "You should tell him. He trusts you." Later that morning, Chloe found Arthur in the garden. The sunlight bathed the flowers, and he seemed more at peace than usual. "Mr. Foster, may I speak with you?" she asked, approaching cautiously. Arthur turned his chair to face her. "Of course. What is it?" Chloe explained what Lucy had told her about Evelyn's plans. As she spoke, Arthur's expression grew colder, his jaw tightening with each word. "She's really gone that far," he said, more to himself than to Chloe. "We need to act before she gets any further," Chloe insisted. Arthur nodded slowly. "I've been expecting this. I have something prepared, but we'll need patience," She needs to make her final mistake before I can expose her completely. What if she tries something before then? Chloe asked, concern in her voice. Arthur met her gaze steadily. Then we'll be ready. That afternoon, Arthur asked Chloe to join him in the physical therapy room. His determination was palpable, as though he was channeling his frustration into his exercises. Today, I'm going to try standing again, he said, positioning his wheelchair beside the parallel bars. Chloe stepped closer, ready to assist. Take it slow, sir, one step at a time. Arthur gripped the bars and began lifting himself. His arms trembled with effort, but he managed to partially stand, holding himself upright for a few seconds before easing back into his wheelchair. Breathing heavily, he looked up at Chloe, a faint smile on his face. I felt something in my legs, he said breathlessly. That's huge progress. Every step counts, Chloe said, her face lighting up with pride. Arthur's gaze softened. You've been part of this, Chloe. Thank you. As Chloe helped Arthur settle back into his wheelchair, Evelyn entered the room. She stopped in the doorway, her arms crossed, her expression sharp. Another little performance, she said, her voice dripping with disdain. Arthur turned to her, his expression calm but firm. If you're here to criticize, Evelyn, I suggest you leave. Evelyn let out a short, bitter laugh. I'm just stating the truth, Arthur. You're deluding yourself. And her, she added, pointing at Chloe. She's just feeding into it. Chloe stayed silent, but Arthur immediately responded. What Chloe is doing is something you never did, helping me believe in myself. And that's something no one can take away from me. Evelyn narrowed her eyes, but didn't respond. Instead, she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Later that evening, Chloe was in the kitchen organizing the cabinets when Lucas called. His cheerful voice was a welcome relief from the day's tension. Mommy, today I drew a picture of you and the man in the chair. He's walking in the drawing, Lucas said excitedly. Chloe laughed softly. Really? I can't wait to see it. Are you behaving? Yes, but I miss you, Lucas said, his voice softening. I miss you too, my love. But we'll be together soon. I promise, Chloe said, her throat tightening with emotion. After hanging up, Chloe stood still for a moment, holding the phone. Lucas was her greatest motivation, and every effort she made in the mansion was for him. The next morning, Arthur asked Chloe to meet him in the library. He was flipping through a stack of documents, his focus unwavering. I have something important to tell you, he said, without looking up. I'm listening, sir, Chloe replied. Arthur closed the folder and finally looked at her. I'm going to confront Evelyn once and for all, but you should know, this might change a lot of things around here. Chloe frowned. What do you mean? Arthur took a deep breath. If things spiral out of control, you might become a target too. I need to know if you're ready to handle that. Chloe hesitated for a moment before replying. I'm here for a reason, sir. I'm not giving up now. Arthur nodded, a faint smile on his face. I knew you'd say that. As the morning progressed, the tension in the mansion grew thicker. Chloe knew Arthur was preparing to confront Evelyn, but she couldn't shake the feeling that Evelyn was planning something of her own. Lucy rushed into the kitchen holding another envelope. Her worried expression made Chloe put down what she was doing immediately. Another note? Chloe asked, already expecting the answer. Lucy nodded, handing it to her. Chloe opened it and read the short, threatening message. If you think you're going to win, you're very mistaken. She's desperate, Lucy said, crossing her arms. Chloe folded the note and slipped it into her pocket. Desperation can be dangerous, but I'm ready. Later that morning, Arthur summoned Chloe to his office. He sat at his desk, documents spread out and his laptop open. I received news from my lawyers, he began. Evelyn tried to transfer a significant amount of money to an offshore account. They blocked the transaction, but it proves she's willing to do anything. Chloe frowned. What are you going to do now? Arthur closed the laptop, his expression firm. Today is the day. I'm going to confront her with the evidence and demand she leave my life for good. And if she refuses? Chloe asked, worried. Then I'll take legal action, Arthur replied. but I want to resolve this without a scandal, at least for now." The confrontation took place in the living room. Arthur had called Evelyn for an urgent discussion, and Chloe stayed in the kitchen, the tension so thick it seemed to seep through the walls. "Why are you doing this, Evelyn?" Arthur began, his voice calm but firm. "Doing what?" Evelyn replied, feigning innocence. Arthur placed the documents on the table. "You know exactly what. Embezzling funds, manipulating my business. I won't tolerate it." Evelyn laughed nervously. "Do you really think you can accuse me of this? You have no proof." "I have all the proof I need," Arthur replied, pointing to the documents. "And if necessary, I'll take them to court." The room went silent for a moment before Evelyn snapped. "You're accusing me of betrayal after everything I've done for you? I was here when no one else was." "You were here because you thought you could benefit," Arthur retorted. "But that ends now." From the kitchen, Chloe could hear their voices echoing through the house. Suddenly, the door burst open and Evelyn stormed out, her face flushed with anger. She shot Chloe a withering glare before disappearing down the hallway. Arthur appeared shortly after, visibly shaken. "She's leaving," he said softly. "She agreed to it?" Chloe asked, surprised. "Not exactly," Arthur replied, his tone steady. "But she knows she's lost. The lawyers will handle the rest." Chloe felt a wave of relief, though she knew the battle wasn't entirely over. That afternoon, during Arthur's physical therapy session, he seemed more focused than ever. Every small movement felt charged with meaning. "You seem more determined today," Chloe commented as she adjusted the equipment. "That's because I know I'm back in control," Arthur replied, determination lighting his eyes. "And I want to keep it that way." Arthur began lifting himself on the parallel bars. His arms trembled under the strain, but Chloe's encouragement kept him going. He managed to hold himself up longer than ever before. "That's incredible, sir," Chloe exclaimed, her smile wide. Arthur looked at her, breathless but proud. "I never would have gotten here without you, Chloe. Thank you." Chloe felt her heart race but maintained her composure. "It's all your effort, sir. I'm just here to help." Later, as Chloe organized the library, Lucas called again. His cheerful voice immediately lifted her spirits. "Mommy, when can I visit you? I want to see the man in the chair," Lucas said excitedly. "Soon, my love. I promise we'll plan it," Chloe replied, laughing. Lucas paused before asking, "Is he walking yet?" "He's making great progress, sweetheart. He's very strong," Chloe said, feeling a swell of pride. After hanging up, Chloe reflected on Lucas's words. His pure, simple faith reminded her of something Arthur was starting to rediscover as well. At the end of the day, Arthur asked Chloe to join him in the garden. The sky was clear, painted in shades of orange and pink, creating a serene atmosphere. "Today was an important day," Arthur said, gazing at the horizon. "It truly was, sir. You handled everything remarkably well," Chloe replied. Arthur turned to her, his expression softer than she had ever seen. "You're part of this, Chloe. I don't think I would have come this far without you here." Chloe felt warmth rise in her chest, but before she could respond, Arthur continued. "There's something I need to say," he began, hesitating slightly. "I feel like I'm changing, and I think you're the reason for that." Chloe stayed silent, surprised by his honesty. She had noticed a change in Arthur, but hearing him acknowledge it left her momentarily speechless. "Thank you for not giving up on me," he said with a shy smile. Chloe finally found her voice. "I would never give up on you, Arthur, because I know there's so much more to you than even you realize." The days that followed brought significant changes to the mansion. Evelyn left abruptly, leaving behind a trail of bitterness that Arthur seemed determined to overcome. Despite the turmoil she caused, her absence brought a new energy to the house. Arthur was more focused than ever, dedicating himself to daily physical therapy sessions. He pushed his limits, and Chloe was by his side every step of the way, offering encouragement and support. One sunny afternoon, Arthur achieved what once seemed impossible. He stood up from the parallel bars without Chloe's help. It was only for a few seconds, but it was enough to bring tears to her eyes. "You did it!" Chloe exclaimed, beaming. Arthur, breathless but radiant, replied, "We did it. This is as much your victory as it is mine." She laughed, quickly wiping her tears. "You're surpassing everyone's expectations, sir." Arthur looked at her deeply, his expression holding something more than gratitude, including my own. "But I had you to remind me it was still possible." That night, as Chloe prepared for bed, Lucas called. His cheerful voice lit up her fatigue. "Mommy, I made another drawing today. It's you, me, and the man in the chair. We're all at a park." Chloe laughed, imagining the simple yet meaningful drawing. "I can't wait to see it, my love. We're so close to making that happen." "Will he walk, Mommy?" Lucas asked with childlike innocence. "Yes, my love. He's getting closer every day," Chloe said, her heart full of hope. After hanging up, Chloe reflected on how much her journey at the mansion had changed, not just Arthur, but herself as well. The next morning, Arthur called Chloe to the office. He was seated in his wheelchair, an envelope resting on the desk in front of him. "Chloe, you've been more than an employee to me," he began, his voice steady but sincere. She felt her heart race. "I've just done what I thought was right, sir." Arthur gave a slight smile. "And that's more than most people would do. I want you to know that you've changed my life, and I want to change yours as well." He slid the envelope toward her. "Open it." Chloe hesitated before opening it. Inside was a formal contract offering her a permanent position as his personal assistant, with a salary beyond anything she'd ever imagined. "I don't know what to say," Chloe murmured, her eyes filling with tears. "Say you'll accept," Arthur said, smiling. Chloe nodded, finally letting the tears fall. "I accept. Thank you, sir." That evening, Chloe and Lucas were reunited at the mansion. Arthur had insisted that the boy visit, and to Chloe's surprise, he had personally prepared a gift for Lucas, a professional drawing kit. Lucas was thrilled, running to hug Arthur without hesitation. "Thank you, sir. I'm going to draw you walking." Arthur chuckled, touched by the boy's contagious energy. "And I'll work to make that happen soon. Deal?" "Deal," Lucas replied enthusiastically. In the following weeks, Arthur continued his recovery with even greater determination. Lucas's presence brought a lightness to the mansion, and even Lucy seemed more cheerful with the new dynamic. Then, one day, the impossible happened. During a physical therapy session, Arthur took his first step. It was hesitant, but real. Chloe watched in disbelief as Arthur, with the support of the bars, moved one leg forward. "You did it!" Chloe exclaimed, tears streaming down her face. Arthur smiled, his eyes shining with triumph. This is just the beginning. Months later, the mansion was filled with celebration. Arthur hosted a small gathering in the garden to mark his recovery and the changes in his life. Chloe and Lucas stood by his side, along with Lucy, who couldn't stop smiling. At the end of the event, Arthur did something unexpected. He took Chloe's hand and looked deeply into her eyes. "Chloe, you brought light into my life when everything was dark. You gave me reasons to believe again. And now, I want to ask if you would stay by my side, not just as my assistant, but as my wife." Chloe was speechless, but the tears in her eyes and the smile on her face were answer enough. Lucas ran to them, hugging them both tightly. Now we're a real family. A few months later, Arthur and Chloe were married in a simple yet love-filled ceremony. Lucas, with his contagious energy, was the center of attention. Arthur, now walking with the help of a cane, delivered an emotional speech about resilience and love. The mansion, once a place of tension and loneliness, was now filled with life and laughter. For Arthur, Chloe, and Lucas, this was only the beginning of a story filled with hope and happiness. And what about you? What did you think of Chloe and Lucas's story? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Rate the story from 0 to 10, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories.